So here's what we're going to do in this segment. We do this from time to time, and when we ask, you respond with plenty of great questions. We're going to open up the mailbag that we have compiled, and let's get started with a guy who's going to be the topic of conversation, Chris, over the next several weeks and has been over the past several weeks. Cam Newton, One Panther Place, asks this. If the Liz Frank heals correctly, do you see any reason why Cam Newton couldn't play at a high level for another 4 or 5 years?
I don't. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to continue to be an upper echelons QB. Again, he's a guy that's been beat up. We know that, yes. He plays a different style of game than most quarterbacks, but this is one of the more physically gifted, freaky guys we've ever seen in the league. And yes, at his age, I think he's done a pretty good job of taking care of his body. You could see that. The proof is in the pudding there a little bit to where, do I think he's going to be the guy we saw in 2015? No. Do I think his game will have to adjust to maybe being a little bit more of a pocket passer? Yes, but I think he can do that, and I think he's still got a number of good years left in his career.
Yeah, I agree with you. The question I have isn't getting him healthy, though. It's when's the next injury, right?
Yeah,
Once he's healthy, is it the shoulder again? Is it the foot? Is it the ankle? Is it this? And there's something going on between Cam Newton and the Panthers where, the Panthers are out there saying, we want him, we want him, we want him. He's putting these videos on social media where he says, among other things, I just want to be appreciated. He's due to make $19 million this year. Yeah. And it's easy to say, we're not going to give him a new contract because we don't know if he's going to be healthy. Well, the reason he's not healthy is because of everything he's given to the team. He is woefully below market value, and I could see him wanting a new deal even if he's not 100%.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a potential pressure point between the Panthers and Newton. And I still don't rule out a trade, Chris.
No.
I know the Panthers have been trying to throw water on it, but that's trade leverage. I'd say the Chargers make the most sense. Chargers, pick up the phone and get you some Cam Newton if you want to put butts and legs in the seats at your new stadium.
I think he's coming out and saying things like, hey, I want to just be appreciated. It's his little way to go, kind of just set that narrative. I shouldn't be being paid this. I'm on the last year of a deal. And, it's kind of his way to kind of have a little crack in the door to say, I want out of here. I think I fully expect when he passes the physical in a few weeks that we will start to hear that Carolina is looking to move on from Cam Newton and start a new era at the quarterback position or whatever, and that they try to trade Cam Newton. I really do. I just think there's too much changing going on for both sides here. I think Matt Rule and Joe Brady and all them, they're trying to, instill their own culture here and start a new era in Carolina. And I think Cam Newton is probably like, wow, that's a lot to go through. And I think he probably needs a fresh start as well. I think he will be on another team when all's said and done.
As our guy Darren Gant, who covered the Panthers for years, surmised yesterday when news broke that Trey Turner, the offensive lineman in Carolina, is available in trade.
Right.
If he's available in trade, Cam's available in trade. And folks, I want to put something on your radar screen for the month of April. Christian McCaffrey isn't showing up for anything until he gets paid. And depending upon what he wants, and it would be foolish for the Panthers not to move heaven and earth to keep this guy. He had 1,000 yards rushing. He had 1,000 yards receiving. But look, he's not showing up. And that's going to be one of the first big challenges for David Tepper as owner and Matt Rule as coach. Forget about Cam Newton for now. They're going to have to solve the Christian McCaffrey problem, Chris, and it's not going to be easy.
No, it won't be. And this is going to be the new thing with the top-tier running backs in football, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's, as you and I have talked about many times, if you ask me, it's the most physical position of all sports. It's worse than being a heavyweight boxer or doing anything like that. So I'm always for the running back trying to get that second contract as quickly as they can, as soon as they have leverage.
Next question from @It'sLakerTime. What would be your thoughts on a potential Nick Foles and Frank Reich reunion in Indianapolis? That's been inspired by some reporting that isn't all that firm. It's more based on whispers and chatters from Indianapolis. I think ESPN had this one yesterday, that the Jaguars are open to the idea of trading Nick Foles and giving the starting job to Gardner Minshew. And I've said in the past, that may be the ideal solution. You don't want to have Foles. Not that Foles would be the perfect guy to be the backup Gardner Minshew, because he wouldn't be a negative presence. He'd be a positive presence.
Right.
But it's a lot of money. If you can unload the contract, maybe you should. Do the Colts make sense?
Yeah, well, you're right. It's a lot of money, and also it is a negative presence, even without being a negative presence, because as soon as Gardner Minshew has a game where he throws 3 interceptions, everyone's going to start to go, well, they do have Nick Foles. Should they throw him back in there? And that's where it's negative as far as the development of a young quarterback. I've thought about the Nick Foles, Frank Reich, Indianapolis Colts thing. Certainly, I have. I don't think it happens. I don't see it happening. First off, so they're going to pay Jacoby Brissett and Nick Foles a lot of money to really not be a good starter? Nick Foles is just like, he's the same thing as Jacoby Brissett. He's that guy that's, he's a really good backup, but I'm not so sure he's a guy that we want to be our starting quarterback for 16 games or 17 weeks. So it puts them in the same boat again. So I don't see that happening. I think that they need to get somebody a little bit more proven. And that's where I look at Phillip Rivers and think, okay, that makes sense. But if you have Nick Foles and Jacoby Brissett, you have two guys that are kind of the same thing. Yeah, Nick Foles is just a little bit better version of that. But I do think that the Colts, without a doubt, are going out there to get somebody. We know that. I think Jacoby Brissett's done being the starting quarterback, and I think Nick Foles is done being the starting quarterback in Jacksonville. I've heard a lot of the same things you are. They're going with Gardner Minshew. He's their guy.
I spoke with Frank Reich last week on the day that you had to quickly exit the set.
Yeah.
And I asked him near the end of the interview about Nick Foles, and he lit up. There's still affection. There's still positivity. They won a Super Bowl together in Philadelphia. Frank Reich's the head coach of the Colts because of Nick Foles to a certain extent. Now, I know that Reich earned it through work and perseverance, but if Foles doesn't come in and play like he did late in the 2017 season and help deliver that Super Bowl win, Frank Reich is not the head coach of the Colts right now, or at least he wouldn't have been as of the start of the 2018 season. So I think that it's possible. And I think that when you consider the money they have invested in Brissett, maybe this is a good combination where you don't go out and spend a ton of money on Phillip Rivers, to whom they've been linked. You spend reasonable money on Nick Foles. You take him to Indianapolis. You let him compete with Jacoby Brissett. If Brissett wins, fine. Foles will be a great teammate and help him get better and better and better. And if Foles wins, who knows? Who knows, right? We've seen Nick Foles twice in Philadelphia be spectacular. We've seen him everywhere else he's gone be not very good. But here he would be in Indianapolis with a guy who helped him be great enough to win a Super Bowl. I'm fascinated by what that could become. I'm kind of rooting for that one, frankly, because I think it could work for the Colts and for Nick Foles. At Based Dez, why do people think Justin Herbert and Jordan Love are so close? I don't understand why Herbert gets no respect. Chris, your reaction?
Well, yeah, I do. There is a faction of people out there that just want to crap on Justin Herbert. I don't know what it is. I think this is what it is. We have a number of people in the sports world right now that they just look at the bottom line stats. That's all they do. So they go, Oregon lost. Justin Herbert only threw for 150 yards. Well, he must be the reason they lost. Man, Justin Herbert can't win big games in the Pac-12. He just can't. I just read the stat line. I didn't see any of the game, but I saw the stat line, and that was the one that jumped out to me. So he's got to be the reason they lose. Now listen, Jordan Love, I like him. I haven't studied and deep dived these guys yet. I'm hoping to actually start that today because I had a little snafu with my film. And Jordan Love, he's going in the first round as well. Justin Herbert, I think all the issues that I hear people talk about with Justin Herbert, more times than not, have to do with Oregon's offense. And then I see people nitpicking him on TV and go, look, he could have made this throw or done this, but yet they don't show like other plays where I'm going to go, well, here's a play that like nobody in college football can make. Somehow that gets cut out of the highlight package when people want to crap on this guy. To me, this guy has the most potential to be the big-time superstar. I mean, not only with the size, but he's twitchy. You saw what he was as an athlete. And I think, again, a lot of it goes back to, the Oregon offense. It's one of the worst offenses I saw as far as throwing, passing concepts on TV this year. And I saw a number of games with Oregon this year and just went, well, where does anybody want Justin Herbert to throw the ball? There's nobody open. I see 5 guys, and they're all covered. And I just think some of that has gotten there, which I think is hilarious that people crap on him. And then Jordan Love, who throws 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, nobody has any concerns about him. He's clean as can be. And that's where I just want to go, what? So it's a false narrative out there right now that I don't agree with, and I'll be able to give you more answers as I deep dive into this whole thing.
I want to know more about your film snafu. You buried the lead there. What happened? Did you puke on it?
I had I had some issues. It's coming. I can't talk about it here on air. But we're talking about a guy, again, that's getting crapped on that threw for 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And we're talking about, it's just not consistent. It should be 40-0. Oh, and then I see him run, and I'm going to go, whoa, he's the best running quarterback in the draft, too. Like, so what? So, there's a lot of positives there. I don't understand the negative, hate on the guy.
And he's a big dude, 6'6". We met him. Very respectful.
Yeah.
Nice. Right? The only negative I would have
I know where you're going.
Justin Herbert is when we asked him what quarterbacks he admired growing up, and he went straight for Joey Harrington.
That was an odd answer. No doubt about it.
That was a stunner.
Well, I think that goes back to what's really concerning people in the NFL circles about Justin Herbert is just that he's never been out of Eugene, Oregon. And that's what scares people a lot, is just they feel like he's kind of he's Bubble Boy to a degree. You remember Bubble Boy on Seinfeld?
I remember Bubble Boy.
Right? He's not that kind of Bubble Boy, but he's been in a little bit of a bubble, and I think people are a little worried about as far as the biggest concern with him is.
All right, next up, at Orion Chuz, am I crazy for thinking Taysom Hill could be someone Bill Belichick would go for at quarterback if Brady leaves? I'm guessing that Belichick would love the Swiss Army knife aspect and the fairly modest cap hit. And look, when we consider what mobile quarterbacks have done to the Patriots over the years, they finally have a chance to go get a mobile quarterback, assuming that Tom Brady moves on.
Well, I do think, Bill Belichick would love a guy like Taysom Hill. Him and Josh McDaniels could have a lot of fun with that type of player, but I think the reality of the situation is this. What, Mike? I mean, this is like Sean Payton's little pet project, and he loves him. We know that. We've asked Sean Payton about him. We can see him light up when he talks about Taysom Hill. So, do I think Bill Belichick would like him? Certainly, but there's just no freaking way he gets out of New Orleans. Between what we heard from Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they both want him back.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And look, they're going to use a restricted free agency tender, and it's most likely, if not definitely, going to be a first-round tender, and the Saints are going to match whatever offer that someone else would sign Taysom Hill to, if he even signs an offer sheet. Because that's the thing, too. What offer sheet do you put in front of Taysom Hill that would lock him up into 2021 and beyond that would be better than just taking the $6 million this year and franchise tag next year if the Saints ultimately can't sign him to a long-term deal? He wants to be paid as a franchise quarterback, not as a high-level jack of all trades. So I don't think he's going anywhere, although I am fascinated by the possibility of the Patriots getting a more mobile quarterback, and really anybody is more mobile than Tom Brady, given what mobile quarterbacks have done to the Patriots over the years. So On that note, we're going to take a break.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.